Good morning. Hello, Edem. Hello. Edem, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And a moment to Seminia.
Oh, God's grace, I'm doing well.
All right, Edem, you've been following the news about the audit service, one more position on Mr. Domelevo. Sisi an retirement age last year in the year, and you be ambachono. What do you make of the entire discourse between the Mr. Domelevo and the institution?
There's another addition to the comedy that has been going on between the audit board chair, who himself was a former auditor general and who should be handling this much better, and the current auditor general. On the surface of it, Mr. Daniel Domelevo's responses have already dealt with the matter. This is a storm in a teacup. The man says, look, whilst I was 17, 18, I filled this form. I made a mistake. I realized it 25 years or so ago. I went and made the necessary changes to affidavit. I have worked in the public service here in Ghana. I even moved out and became auditor general in another country, came back. And I mean, the key thing, if you want to look at it critically, is that his name is Yao. If you go to 1st June 1960, you can't get a Yao. You can only get a Yao when it's 1st June 1961. And there's a backing document certificate that has that. And his passport, which is something that is very well, in terms of due diligence, investigated before it's given out, also shows the 1st June 1961. I don't get it. In any case, the Audit Service Board doesn't have a direct responsibility over a supervisory oversight over the Auditor General Department. That's an independent institution of state. I think that, look, we need to appeal to the president not to align with what some of his representatives are doing. It's going to ruin his legacy. At the moment, all eyes are on Ghana, what is happening to Mr. Domelevo. He has 3 months to go. My take is, look, the Constitution even allows another 2 years, which will have 2 more years for Daniel Domelevo to do more. And let's see how Ghana will progress. If we want to show that we are serious about the fight against corruption, let's embrace accountability. And there are very few people who will be able to do this and do it as well as Mr. Domelevo has done. Let's not begin to make it look like every time there's opportunity for him to do some more work, we are trying to prevent it. What is it that we are trying to stop him from doing? What is it that we are afraid of? I really don't understand this new twist at all.
Well, there's a question as to whether if all these discrepancies and what some may describe as falsifications may require, criminal investigations into this matter, and even if he should even get his end of service benefits, if indeed the position of the board is anything to work with.
Oh, I don't even see any criminal issue here. I mean, we live in a society where many of our parents were not literate. And so in terms of the oral history of what we may be told, you can easily get things wrong. We have a system in place that allows you to go swear an affidavit and say, these are the facts, and adduce the supporting evidence. If these changes had come in the last 5 years or 10 years, it may raise eyebrows. But 25 years or so ago, it couldn't be because it was going to provide an advantage, an undue advantage to Mr. Daniel Domelevo. So, and don't forget that our legal system is an adversarial one. You must provide the evidence that this was intended to defraud the state. How could he be intended to defraud the state at 25 years ago when he found the documentation? He tells you where it is. He says you can call the people. He says that my grandfather, he calls the name, my mother, my father. He calls the what do you call it, family from which he comes from, which is a very well-known family in the Adan area. These are all facts that can be ascertained. I doubt that this is going to be something that materializes too much. And I think that the sooner we stop seemingly being afraid of allowing the right thing to be done, or to allow somebody who is strong on doing the right thing and holding institutions of state accountable from occupying his office, the better it is for all of us in terms of the impression locally and internationally.
Do you expect the president to act on the recommendations by the board?
No, I don't, because already, the bulk of us, civil society, are in court. We are at the Supreme Court asking for an interpretation on the action of asking the Auditor General to proceed on accumulated leave. We think that that is the most dangerous precedent that could ever have been set in the history of the fourth, dispensation. Especially because, look, what it means is that some future president could instruct our electoral commissioner at a time of election that go on accumulated leave. We've been talking about this. People are not taking us seriously. The checks and balances that the spirit and letter of our constitution have put in place are to ensure that those institutions that are to hold the executive in check cannot themselves, as it were, be instructed by the executive. And so what we have seen undermines the very foundations of the legal arrangements that we have in place. And so some of us are in court and having to contribute towards paying for lawyers simply because we look at the future and we look at the generations to come and say that if we don't take this stand today, we will have allowed a travesty that can destroy the fabric of our democracy. So let's not take this line. I appeal to the president not to do any other actions that seem very unlike him as a lawyer, as an advocate for human rights and an advocate for accountability, as somebody who for many years has led us in trying to ensure that this country deepens its democratic credentials.
But the counter question would be, what at all would Mr. Domelevo be able to do if he's retiring this year, even if he's allowed to work? What at all would he be able to do within this short period?
Well, I think that question is neither here nor there. He has a mandate by law. He has his integrity at stake. He has committed himself. He could have taken up any other job. I think that the legacy he has left will still stand the test of time. 3 months is enough time for him to wrap up on anything he's been working on that he thinks is serious, at least speak to the good people of Ghana. I don't think that we should be dismissive of the 3 months that he has. And I don't think that the question is what can he do? No, that is neither here nor there. We have engaged him. We have paid for his services. Already, in my mind, there is an unnecessary cost that the audit service and the call to send him on accumulated leave has generated for us, a cost where his expertise was not at the service of this country when we were paying for it. And those are issues that substantively we'll take up because we don't understand the large number of leave days being given to these officers when in most cases they are not even able to practically use those days for very obvious reasons. It is the reason why automatically one can foresee a situation where all such independent institutions and their chief executives or those who are in charge are likely to have excess days of leave they've not taken. And that allows us to get into a situation where the risk that somebody else may instruct one of them to go on accumulated leave at a time when their services or expertise is important to the nation is one that we should not be beginning to entertain at all.
Do you expect Mr. Domelevo to walk to his office today, tomorrow?
Oh, I'm expecting that Mr. Domelevo should be seated in his office by now. I have been encouraging media over the last 24, 48 hours that please be there for us. Let's see whether the talk about the fight against corruption and the commitment to it is serious, and so Mr. Domelevo occupies his office, or it is just talk without commitment, and so another kind of obstacle will be in his way from playing his functions. We're interested in knowing. I don't think that what has been raised by the audit service board chair, and I like to limit it to the board chair because by all indications there seems to be something personal. Each time he's been asked to explain things, he's not been convincing or compelling. And in this case, either Yao can only be 1st June 1961. I think the matter is settled. About him being Togolese, now that's an interesting one. If a Togolese would do this for the good people of Ghana, I'll give him a standing ovation. I doubt that even that will stand the test of scrutiny eventually.
I'm grateful, Edem, that you made time to join us today.